please?
I got you.
Thank you.
Judah, 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 Judah. Judah, 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 Judah. Will never leave Judah. The scepter will never leave Judah. The scepter will never leave Judah. I'm Judah. Christ sprang out of Judah. King David was Judah. King Asa was Judah. Don't crowd me up, who gon' rouse me up? Alistair Crowley, your time is up. It's a big mess, I gotta clean it up. Esau, the end of my kingdom's up. On the eagle's neck, I'll press. I woke up from my rest. I woke up from my arrest. My rulership is up next. No vex. Judah, 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 Judah. Judah, 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 Judah.
Shalom, Israel.
Shalom.
Shalom to everyone online, and welcome to another live class here with the Israelite School of Biblical History and Practical Knowledge. I'm Priest Quatazop. We're located at 8524 South Braeswood Boulevard, Houston, Texas, 77071. For all of those that know us, you already know what I'm about to say. I'm going to go through these announcements. For those of you that are not familiar with us, we do class every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday here in Houston from 7 to 9 p.m. On Fridays from 6 to 8. And we do our Shabbat morning class from 10 to 2 on Saturdays, okay? So if you're in the Houston area, feel free to join us for those live classes. We also have class in Virginia and as well in San Antonio. San Antonio, they're at 4444 Walsham Road, San Antonio, Texas, 78217. And their class times are the same as us, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. They just go from 7 to 10, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And then about 10 to 2, 3 on Saturday. We have a school in Virginia. They're located at 2610 Granby Road, Norfolk, Virginia, 23517. All right, so their class days and times are Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday from 7 to 9, Saturday from about 10 to 2. So if you're keeping up with what I'm saying, you're catching 7 days of class, no excuses. And now, you know, we're also out in Virginia. We're not broadcasting class live, but we do class in Rochester. We do class in Rochester, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday from 7 to 9. Saturday from 12 to about 4 or 5. They start a little bit later on the Shabbat. We have the Blog Talk Radio coming out of New Mexico and San Antonio. We got different priests that do that. We got Priest Mashaba, we got Banabad, we got Priest Tazapah, Priest Nagaya. So a lot of good informational shows on that Blog Talk Radio. There's a catalog you can go through. It's about 8 years of just topics. Okay, so if you get bored, which I don't see how you can, if you get bored, hop on that Blog Talk Radio, let that ride. You truck drivers out there, and you ride an Uber or you doing any type of deliveries, and you're in the car, and you can throw on like an earphone, throw on that Blog Talk Radio, and let's let it play, or Bluetooth it to your stereo, and let's let it play. It's a lot of info. All right, we got Passover coming up. As y'all know, we're in the final preparation stages. We got about 12 days for Passover, which is on April the 4th. That's when we're going to celebrate it. Now, the official start date of the Passover is the 26th, which is in 2 days. So that's the official start of the Passover and the Feast of Unleavened Bread. So what we're going to do here that's basically Friday. We're going to observe the Passover that Friday. We're going to get brothers and sisters together for a little shindig. We know that the sisters are busy. We know that the sisters are busy with garments, so the brothers are going to have to come up with a meal plan. You know, brothers know how to bake and do all that different stuff, and we're just going to have something real small and quick. Nothing, you know, nothing crazy because they're doing garments. So we'll do something real quick, real nice. You know, something nice, something quick to observe the Passover on the 26th. But we will do the official celebration on the 4th of April, all right? So if you miss out on this Friday, no sweat. We'll see you on the 4th, okay? We got a few businesses. We got Israel Wear. They're not taking, they're taking orders, but they're not fulfilling the orders right now, not until March the 1st, because they're doing Passover garments. So if you have, you know, a need for a garment outside of Passover, shoot that to them. They'll put it on the backlog. They'll get to it right after April is over. We got the fringed up subscription, $35 for a shirt, $75 for a shirt and headband. If you don't have garments, or you know you want to get your shirts and headbands up, that's a real quick way every month to get a new shirt with a some type of biblical decal. It's all good quality. Y'all see the garments that we wear. The sisters make them. They put nothing but the best quality in. So that to them. They'll put it on the backlog. Yeah. They'll get to it. Hey, hearing my voice. What else we got? We have Sweet Ambiance. That's another business that we have. They're located in the mall out there in Virginia, and we also have sweetambiance.com. That's where you get all your fragrances. You want to, you know, oils that you can burn, that you can wear, just for all different purposes. You want the car to smell good, you want the house, you want your body. We got you. Just hit us up. Right, we got the Hebrew Academy, and we're doing that basically Tuesdays in Virginia and Rochester, and Wednesdays here in Houston. We'll resume here after the Passover. If you need to reach a teacher, my number is 303-557-8979. You can reach Priest Adakia, 757-300-4047. Okay. There was a few other things. We have a few different YouTube channels that you can reach us. We got the Hidden Truth Bible Show, Israelite Media Corp, 5 Minutes of Wisdom, the kids class. That's recorded and uploaded. We postponed that due to sisters getting on top of these garments. After Passover, a lot of the things that we do, they will resume. Okay, so if you're not seeing new uploads and things like that on certain channels, don't get weary. We'll start updating things after the Passover season. It's always busy. Okay. Anything you want to give for donations? Right now we're looking to get about 12 lamb. 12 lamb at about $3.20 a pop. So you do the math. Count. It's about $4 grand. It's about $4 grand plus. So if you're giving, fine. The water. For those that haven't, if you can, try to give something. Try to give something. You know, we were asking $150 a family. Some people gave more. Some people gave less. It's fine. It's all going to go to the same thing. We all got to eat. So if you want to give to that, we definitely appreciate it. We're going to be looking to try to purchase a new computer in the near future, because we want to be able to get back to giving you class with the different illustrations. You know, we give you the scriptures, we put them on the screen, we put nice visual effects. With the computer that we have, we're not able to do that. The RAM is all used up. We can't upgrade it. The computer that we want to get is upgradable all the way around. Okay, so we'll you know, if you want to give towards that, we definitely appreciate it. And anything else, any alms, anything like that, you can send them to the you know, where you normally send them, to the Wells Fargo, to isbhpk@gmail.com, on Zelle. You can Cash App my number. You can Zelle my number. You can, I believe, PayPal my number. Yeah. Okay, so there's different ways to get that to us. Yeah, and speaking of classes, I really wish we had the computer going so we could have some visual with this class. I feel like this is a real fun class, a real good one. And basically, what are we going to title this? We can title this, you could just title it The Importance of the Ephod. Now, who knows what the ephod is? What's that?
Wasn't the ephod the chain or that had the 12 jewels on it?
Right. It was part of Aaron's holy garment, and it was literally 12 stones that were nestled into a breastplate. Okay, that were a part of Aaron's top part of his garment. Okay, and then what it consisted of, it had the 12 stones representing the 12 tribes of Israel. Then it had 2 stones on the top that secured it, but then it had 2 more stones. And that's what I want to go into is, the significance of the ephod and why was it so important. We read about it. Besides the priests, who can name a few people that you can remember in the scriptures that wore the ephod?
Didn't Elijah wear one? Samuel
Definitely wore one. Samuel wore one. Listen, he was like 5 years old, rocking the ephod. Who else? Who danced with one on?
Oh, David did.
David said he had on just the ephod, right?
That's right.
He danced with one on. Right? So, and amongst that, remember when you deal with Doeg and the Edomite? Doeg the Edomite? And they said that he killed all those priests. He said he killed like 40 priests that wore the ephod.
Oh.
Yeah, see, the ephod was very significant. It was literally a tool. Now, let's do this real quick. Let's go into, see, you see this? You see I'm getting the chills? I don't know if that's a spirit or if that's the damn fan. But no, I'm going to thug it out. I'm going to make it happen, right? Go to Exodus. We're gonna just get a quick, not really quick, but we're gonna read about the garment. We're gonna read about a few other things. Go to Exodus 28 and verse 4.
Exodus chapter 28 verse 4.
Go ahead.
And these are the garments,
Right.
which they shall make:
Right.
a breastplate and an ephod.
And a what?
Ephod.
Right. And an ephod. Right. So it's ephod, EPHO. 3 different parts of the garment that Aaron was commanded to wear. Go ahead.
A mitre.
Right.
A mitre. And a girdle.
Go ahead.
And they shall make holy garments for Aaron,
Right.
thy brother,
Go ahead.
and his sons, that he may minister unto me.
Was made of gold. So imagine this, a gold plate. Go ahead.
Of blue,
Right.
and of purple,
Go ahead.
of scarlet,
Right.
and fine twined linen.
Right, so they had this gold, but then they had the linen and purple and scarlet basically embroidered into it. If you could imagine it. Go ahead.
With cunning work.
Right, with cunning work or tricky. When they say cunning, yeah, it was like, when you looked at it, you're like, damn, who did that? Right? It wasn't easy to do. You had to be, it was basically skilled work. Go ahead.
It shall have the 2 shoulder pieces.
Right, so the ephod had 2 shoulder pieces that basically kept it together. Go ahead.
Thereof.
Right.
Joined at the 2 edges thereof.
Go ahead.
And so it shall be joined together.
Right, that's how the ephod was joined together. So when he put it on, when the priest put it on, they put it right over their head. But if you took those shoulder pieces off, it would come apart. So these 2 shoulder pieces held it together at the seams. Boom. It went over their head. Boom. That was the ephod. And then, watch, read on.
And the curious girdle
Right.
of the ephod,
Go ahead.
which is upon it, shall be of the same.
Right, it shall be of the same cunning work, the gold, the blue, the scarlet, the linen. Read.
According to the work thereof.
Go ahead.
Even of gold,
Read.
of blue, and purple,
Right? Read on.
and scarlet,
Read on.
and fine twined linen.
Read.
And thou shalt take 2 onyx stones.
Right. So you took 2 onyx stones. So we know the onyx stones is those black stones, right? Or sardonyx stones. Go ahead.
And grave on them the names of the children of Israel.
Go ahead.
6 of their names on 1 stone.
Right.
And the other 6 names of the rest on the other stone.
Read.
According to their birth.
Right. So on 1 stone you had 6 tribes in order of birth. On the other stone you had the other 6 tribes in the order of birth. Wow. Let me turn this on. It's a lot. You see that? Now, think about it. What does that symbolize?
They were carrying Israel on them?
Yeah, the priests were carrying the nation on their shoulders. That's what that symbolized. Why else put it there? Why else we know to hold the ephod together, but why else carve Israel? It was, huh?
They rest on the shoulders of these priests.
Khan, the nation rested on the shoulders of the priests. Now, you may ask, well, what do I mean by the nation rested on the shoulders of the priests? Well, the priests were the ones that had to go in and out of the holiest holies and bid for the nation and do sacrifice and talk to the Most High and ask counsel for the people, right? So that was a symbolism to remind Aaron, when they look left, look right, you got the nation on your shoulders. So y'all were supposed to stay straight. Y'all weren't supposed to get mixed up in the things that they were getting mixed up in and that you had to drag them out of. You see that? Because you were supposed to be their pillar. Hold where you at real quick. Go to Judith 8:25. We always go here. And it just hit my brain. Go to Judith 8:25.
Judith chapter 8 verse 25.
Right?
Moreover, let us give thanks to the Lord our God,
Go ahead.
which trieth us,
Right?
even as he did our fathers.
Go ahead.
Remember what things he did to Abraham,
Read.
and how he tried Isaac,
Go ahead.
and what happened to Jacob and Mesopotamia of Syria,
Right?
when he kept the sheep of Laban, his mother's brother.
Go ahead.
For he have not tried us in the fire.
No, actually, read verse 24. Salak, I skipped it. Go to 24. That's what I wanted.
Now therefore,
Right.
O brethren, let us show an example to our brethren,
Right?
because their hearts depend upon us.
Go ahead.
And the sanctuary.
Go ahead.
And the house.
Read.
And the altar.
Read.
Rest upon us.
Right. So that was not just symbolic. That was literal. The house, the sanctuary, the brethren, they literally rested upon the priests. They rested upon their example. They rested upon their faith. They rested upon their consistency. They literally were the pillars of the community. You see that? So the Most High was given this symbolic reminder, just even in the garment, that you're a pillar of the community. Stay straight. That your consistency, your diligence, your faith, your love, your brotherhood, your charity, it's all on display and others are looking at you. The whole nation, all 12 tribes. Go ahead. So where you at? Jump back to Exodus.
Yes, sir. Exodus chapter 28 verse 11.
With
the work of an engraver in stone.
Go ahead.
Like the engravings of a signet. Shalt thou engrave the 2 stones with the names of the children of Israel.
Right.
Thou shalt make them to be set in ouches of gold.
Right. So go ahead.
And thou shalt put the 2 stones upon the shoulders of the ephod for stones of memorial unto the children of Israel.
This is important too. It says for stones of memorial for the children of Israel. This was like a memorial for us. This to keep us in remembrance of certain things. As we go through the class, man, it's dope. It's dope. And I see even more why the Most High did us the way he did. Why he just let us go into captivities and why why we get hit so hard as a nation, because, bro, the signs were there that the Most High was with us. Go ahead, read on.
And Aaron shall bear their names
Right.
before the Most High
You see that? Aaron is going to bear the children's names of Israel. Go ahead.
upon his two shoulders
Right.
for a memorial.
So this was a memorial for the priests, but it was also a memorial for the people. Go ahead.
And thou shalt make ouches of gold,
Right.
and 2 chains of pure gold at the ends, of wreathen work.
Wreathen work. Go ahead.
Of wreathen work shalt thou make them, and fasten the wreathen chains to the ouches. And thou shalt make the breastplate of judgment with cunning work.
Right. So in the ephod, there was a breastplate that was kind of cut out. Go ahead.
After the work of the ephod, thou shalt make it.
Right. So he put on that ephod, but then he put on another garment, which was the breastplate, and the breastplate was basically cut out, and the ephod just sat right in there. Boom. So he covered over. Right. So go ahead.
Of gold,
Right.
of blue, and of purple, and of scarlet, and of fine twined linen shalt thou make it. 4 square it shall be, being double. A span shall be the length thereof, and a span shall be the breadth thereof.
Go ahead.
And thou shalt set in it settings of stones.
Right.
Even 4 rows of stones.
Right. So now we're going to get into these 4 rows of stones. Go ahead.
The first row shall be a sardius,
Right.
a topaz, and a carbuncle.
Right.
This shall be the first row.
Right. Go ahead.
And the second row shall be an emerald, a sapphire, and a root, and a diamond. And the third row, a linguor, an agate, and an amethyst. And the fourth row, a beryl, and an onyx, and a jasper.
Right. So these were all 12 precious stones that the Most High said to put in the ephod. 3 rows, right? You have 4 rows of 3, which equal 12. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. All the different color stones. What were you going to ask?
That sounds like the same stones that they built the temple with.
Yeah, a lot of them were.
Yeah.
A lot of them were. Because these were what were deemed precious at the time, and they're still precious stones. You get some real onyx stone, you're gonna pay some money. Obviously, we know diamond, jaspers, sapphires. When you get real sapphire, that you gonna pay some dough because they have value. Go ahead.
They shall be set in gold in their enclosings, and the stones shall be with the names of the children of Israel.
Right.
12, according to their names.
Right.
Like the engravings of a signet.
Right. So each stone had the name of the tribe that it pertained to. Go ahead.
Every one with his name shall they be according to the 12 tribes.
Go ahead.
And thou shalt make upon the breastplate chains at the ends of wreathen work of pure gold. And thou shalt make upon the breastplate 2 rings of gold, and shalt put the 2 rings on the 2 ends of the breastplate.
Go ahead.
And thou shalt put the 2 wreathen chains of gold, and the 2 rings which are on the ends of the breastplate. And the other 2 ends of the 2 wreathen works thou shalt fasten in the 2 ouches.
Right.
And put them on the shoulder pieces of the ephod before it.
So if you could understand, the breastplate had a loop of gold. Then it had chains that went up to keep it from moving around. Oh yeah, it had to have been. It had to have some weight. It wasn't. Remember, it was made of linen. The main material was linen, but then when you put this gold, and gold is light, a lighter metal. But when you put the gold and the stones, it wasn't your regular garment. You knew you was walking around with something. But why? I'm going to remind you that you got the children of Israel on your heart, in your mind. It was a constant reminder for the priests of what am I doing and who am I doing it for. You see that? So go ahead.
And thou shalt make 2 rings of gold.
Right.
And thou shalt put them upon the 2 ends of the breastplate and the border thereof.
Okay.
Which is in the side of the ephod inward.
Right.
And 2 other rings of gold thou shalt make, and shall put them on the two sides of the ephod underneath, toward the fourth part thereof,
Right.
over against the other coupling thereof, above the curious girdle of the ephod. And they shall bind the breastplate by the rings thereof unto the rings of the ephod with a lace of gold, that it may be above the curious girdle of the ephod, and that the breastplate be not loosed from the ephod.
Right. You see that? So the breastplate wasn't loose from the ephod. What's that?
Just why do they keep using the word curious?
Curious would just meant just tricky, like man, it was like cunning and curious work. Like, damn, who did that? Or how was that done? Meticulous. Yeah, like you have to be real skilled. Remember, when we read the Sabbath reading, it said that you have to have wisdom to have put this garment together. Men of wisdom. So that curious work was just tricky, skillful craftsmanship. Right? Where you at?
Verse 29.
Go ahead.
And Aaron shall bear the names of the children of Israel,
Right.
and the breastplate of judgment,
Go ahead.
upon his heart.
You see that? Upon his heart. Go ahead. So more symbolism that the children of Israel, that should be on your mind, not yourself. Go ahead.
When he goeth in unto the holy place,
Read.
for a memorial before the Most High, continually.
Read on.
And thou shalt put in the breastplate of judgment,
Right.
the urim and
The thummim. The urim and the thummim.
the thummim,
Right? Thummim. Go ahead.
thummim, and they shall be upon Aaron's heart,
Right.
when he goeth in before the Most High, and Aaron shall bear.
So the urim and the thummim, these were two other stones that were attached to the breastplate that would be attached to the ephod. So you had a number of, you had 12, 13, 14, you had 16 stones in this front part of Aaron's garment. You had the 12. Now the thing is, it doesn't really tell you exactly where the urim and the thummim were, but it said it was part of the breastplate. Then you had the shoulder pieces. Okay, go ahead.
And Aaron shall bear the judgment of the children of Israel,
Right.
upon his heart,
Right.
before the Lord continually.
Go to Leviticus 8, verse 8. We're going to deal with this urim and this thummim. Go ahead.
Leviticus chapter 8, verse 8.
Go ahead.
And he put the breastplate upon him.
Right, so the breastplate went on Aaron. Go ahead.
Also, he put in the
So
breastplate
inside of the breastplate, go ahead.
the urim and the thummim.
Right, the urim and the thummim. Thummim, right? Tough word. Now, let's deal with urim. The word urim, what does that sound like? Urim. Who was the, well, I'll just give it to you. When you look up that word urim in Hebrew, it's a waryum. What is a waryum? What does a war mean?
A war light.
What does a waryum mean?
All light are
It just makes it plural.
yeah.
So it means lights. Urim means lights in Hebrew. Lights. I want y'all to bear with me. It means lights. Urim is plural for a waryum. When you look it up in the Hebrew, you'll see it. It'll say a waryum. Thummim is plural for, or not really plural, but the word perfect is thamah. The word perfect is thamah. Perfection is thamayim. That's the Hebrew. So when you look up these words in the Hebrew, you'll see a waryum and you'll see thamayim. Lights of perfection. Now think about this. It said they were lights of perfection. So they had to do what?
They had to glow.
They had to
light
emit
up.
some type of light.
Especially with like the sunlight hit it. Oh man.
Oh no, bro. This is way beyond sunlight. Watch. This is way beyond sunlight. The sunlight hitting it. This is way beyond sunlight. Watch. Go to Josephus. So what we're gonna do? Oh no. Let's go here because it didn't update on that. go to, I need you to go to the Josephus, and you're going to go to, so we're clear, urim and thummim, a urim and thummim. We're lights of perfection. We're clear on that, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, I want you to go to, why did it do this?
Book 3, chapter 7. Concerning the garments of the priest. And the high priest.
We're gonna go there. I just want to make sure I have this.
Yes, sir.
Go to book 3. So we're gonna hop into the Josephus. Okay. Remember, we use the Josephus just like we use a dictionary. I think Kazak was going over it yesterday. You get rid of the bones and you take the meat. Okay? If it don't line up with the Bible, if it don't line up with the scriptures, then we don't use it. It's like any other reference, history, dictionary book that we use. Okay? Not all of it is going to line up, so we don't use it. Okay? So I want you to go to book 3, chapter 8, section 9. So it's basically page 93 if you have the blue one. And you're going to go to section 215. So you're section 9, but then it says 215. You see that?
Yes, sir.
So read that.
Josephus, book 3, chapter 8, section 215.
Right, and the reason where I'm starting here, because when you start further, all he's doing is going back over the same garments that we already read about in the scriptures. But there's a part that he omits. There's a part of the garments he doesn't talk about. Now he's going to get into it. Go ahead.
For as to those stones,
Right,
which we told you before,
right.
the high priest bare on his shoulders,
Go ahead.
which were sardonyx,
Right, or onyx stones. Go ahead.
and I think it needless to describe their nature.
He said, I think it needless to describe their nature. Go ahead.
They being known to everybody,
Right, see, everybody at the time. He said it's needless, and even us, we know onyx stones, they're black. I mean, I don't know too much about them. I know that real onyx stones are valuable. He said, so it's needless to describe the stones, because everybody knows about onyx stones. But he's going to go into something else. Go ahead.
the one of them shined out when the Most High was present at their sacrifices.
Woo. Right in. Read it one more time.
The one of them shined out when the Most High was present at their sacrifices.
So, this ephod and the stones inside of the ephod let the people know that the Most High was present.
That's dope.
God.
You see how cold that is? Just right off the bat? I know it was slow, like reading all that Exodus, but then, bam, right to the gut. Right? Think about that, Ak.
Damn.
You sitting there, the priests are getting ready to do their job, and the stones start to glow
Just let you know the Most High.
to let you know that the Most High is present.
Oh man,
Wow.
was that an attention?
Read.
I mean, that which was in the nature of a button on his right shoulder.
Go ahead.
Bright rays darting out thence,
Now check this out. It wasn't just that it glowed. Read.
and being seen even by those that were most remote.
Go ahead.
Which splendor yet was not before natural to these
You
stones.
see that? So the Most High took these stones and then he used them as a signification that I'm in your presence. Because this wasn't the natural thing for these stones to do. You see that? Right? So, read on.
This has appeared a wonderful thing
Right?
to such as have not so far indulged themselves in philosophy
In this in philosophy, go ahead.
as to despise divine revelation.
Go ahead.
Yet will I mention what is still more wonderful than this.
Go ahead.
For the Most High declared beforehand by those 12 stones which the high priest bare on his breast,
Read.
and which were inserted into his breastplate,
Go ahead.
when they should be victorious in battle.
Check this out. Check this out. Go ahead.
For so great a splendor shone forth from them before the army began to march.
So the breastplate would start to light up before they went to war to let them know y'all gonna win the war.
Damn.
I'm with you. Remember, he said, I go before you in the battle. He said, the battle is mine. So not only did we have this garment that the priest wore, that Aaron wore, because, you know, Aaron's garment was a lot different from his son's garment.
Right.
It wasn't superbly different, but his garment was top notch. So he had the ephod that was doing all the tricks.
Man.
His sons, they had lower level garments, but they weren't doing the things that his garment was doing. They didn't have the ouches of the two sardonyx. They didn't have the urim and the thummim, but they had, you know, the ephod and things like. They had a linen ephod, but it wasn't like, they had the bonnet, but it wasn't like Aaron's, the high priest. Go ahead.
That all the people were sensible of the Most High's,
Right.
being present for their assistance.
Now you see why the Most High crushed us.
It's true.
Now you see why the Most High said, you know what? Go ahead, man. It's wicked for y'all to want a king. It's wicked for y'all to want a man to lead y'all. Not only did I give you a pillar by day, a fire by night to guide you. Not only did I part the Red Sea, not only did I kill a whole nation of people, damn near, with 10 plagues. Not only did I send Yahushua down to kill the firstborn, but I gave you garments that let you know that I was there with you. In battle, in sacrifice, that I accepted what you were doing.
We deserve everything.
Now you see why the Most High was like, man, send them to the wolves.
Yeah.
A nation of fierce countenance is going to not regard young or old and just destroy y'all and take everything from y'all.
They did a good job with it too.
Yeah, because the Most High said, you know what? I'm no longer with you.
Right.
Watch.
Gosh.
Hold that real quick. This one just hit me. Go to Deuteronomy 32. Go to Deuteronomy 32 and you can hit verse 16, I believe.
Deuteronomy chapter 32 and verse 16.
Right?
They provoked him to jealousy
Right.
with strange gods.
Go ahead. Go to verse 15.
But Jeshurun waxed fat
Right?
and kicked.
Yeah, the upright one. Jeshurun. You know what's funny about that? I ain't gonna hit y'all with that yet. Jasher means the upright one. That's what Jasher means. The upright one. Go ahead.
Thou art waxed fat, thou art grown thick,
Right, read.
thou art covered with fatness.
Right, so we basically got lazy, but how could you get lazy when you know the Most High is just rolling with you? You know, it's wild because think about in this day and age, what do we have? All you got is faith
Yeah.
and prayer and hope.
That worked.
You're not getting no damn visual effects
Nah.
like what they were getting.
Nah.
Think about it. You had these men and women that saw and still didn't believe.
Wow.
That's why Yahushua came back and said it. He said, blessed are you that have not seen and believed. Because think about what they got. Think about what they had at their disposal. Right, read on.
Then he forsook the Most High, which made him.
Right, he did what?
Forsook the Most High, which made him.
Go ahead.
And lightly esteemed the rock of his salvation.
Dad, how could you lightly, this is why the Most High crushed us, man. We lightly esteemed him like, he ain't nothing.
Right.
We were literally just filthy in his sight.
Right.
And we knew that we were in his sight. Because it says it here. It says, the people were sensible of God's being present for their assistance. So we knew that the Most High was there with us.
Bro.
And we were still like, nah, I'm good. Nah, who is this God you speak of?
We grew weary of him.
We grew weary of the Most High, like it says, what is that, in Isaiah?
Isaiah, yes.
we grew weary of the Most High. He was sitting there letting us know, hey, I accept your sacrifice. Now, Cain didn't have that. Cain didn't have that, no damn garments lighting up, showing him, hey, I accept you. He had to be dealt with face to face. You see that? We had man, it's crazy. The Most High just constantly kept giving us these aids and these guides to lead us to Him and to keep us in bounds. And we, like he said, they're rebellious, stiff-necked, hard-headed, sottish children. Yeah. And what do sottish children want to do? Stupid, dumb children want to do stupid, dumb things.
Yes.
Jump back to the Josephus.
Whence it came to pass,
Right?
that those Greeks who had a veneration for our laws, cause they could not possibly contradict this.
Right, so the Greeks that had an understanding of our laws, they couldn't contradict what the Ephod was doing. They couldn't come up with some other thing like, oh, it didn't do that. Once they understood what was going on, they were like, yeah, that's what it was doing. The Greeks, they understood. And guess what they called the Ephod? Read on.
Called that breastplate the oracle.
They called it the oracle. Now, there's a reason why they called it the oracle. Right? So, from there, well, what does an oracle do? You ever watch Matrix? And Morpheus was like, we got to go see the oracle? The oracle was the one that was giving them the advice.
Yeah.
She was prophesying the future. You see that? So the Greeks understood what was going on with this breastplate.
Yeah.
And they knew that the breastplate did certain things in the stead of the Most High and gave us the knowledge of what the Most High wanted us to do.
Right.
They knew that it lit up. Certain things would start to glow. And that was the okay. What's that?
Even in their mythology,
Right.
Whenever they would have an oracle, the oracle would always have a ball, and that ball would light up.
Oh, like the crystal ball?
Yeah.
See that?
So
Where do they get it from?
They got
They
from
get it
us.
from us, but they turn it into wickedness.
Yes.
Right? Yeah, that's a good point. It's a real good point. Right. So from there, I want you to we're going to stay in the Josephus real quick.
Yes, sir.
Don't worry, we're going to hit some scriptures too. I know y'all like, where the scriptures at? We want to see what the Bible says, right? Come on, we're going to get it. We're going to get it. I'm saving that for last because I want to show y'all that this Josephus is on point. Exactly what the scriptures are saying. I want you to go to book 3. Oh, go to 214. So you're going to be in book 3, chapter 8, section 9, 214. So it's just go to section 9. You see it? Page 93, book 3, chapter 8, section 9. Read that.
I will now treat of what I before omitted, the garment of the high priest.
Right?
For he, Moses, left no room for the evil practices of false prophets.
Right. See, so the functionality, look in the side for the glasses case. The functionality of the ephod and the breastplate was to prevent false prophets. How did it do so? Read on. The what?
But if some of that sort should attempt to abuse the divine authority,
Go ahead.
he left it to God
Right?
to be present at his sacrifices when he pleased.
Right. So if a cat decided, you know what, I'm gonna play high priest today, and I'm gonna start giving commandment to the people against what the Most High says, guess what? That garment, that breastplate, and that ephod wouldn't do nothing. It'd be like a regular old garment. It'd just be regular. Go ahead, read on.
And when he pleased to be absent,
Right. And this was when the Most High wanted to be absent or present. Go ahead.
and he was willing this should be known,
Right.
not to the Hebrews only,
Not to the Hebrews only. Read.
but to those foreigners also, who were there.
Right, so from there, let's go to 1 Samuel 28. So let's deal with it. Because Saul wore the ephod. So did David. So did Samuel. So did the priest that Doeg the Edomite killed. Right? There was a lot of ephod rocking going on. Read 1 Samuel 28 and 6.
1 Samuel chapter 28, verse 6.
Go ahead.
And when Saul inquired of the Lord,
Right?
the Lord answered him not, neither by dreams, nor by urim,
Right?
nor by prophet.
Right. So this is when Saul started going off. And, he was supposed to kill the Amalekites. He didn't do that. He was supposed to, he's supposed to kill them, not take no captives. He didn't do that. He was supposed to, there was a lot of things he was supposed to do. But at this point, he was already pursuing David. So the wickedness, it said the Spirit of the Lord left Saul, and the negative spirit entered into him. The urim didn't deal with a negative spirit. The urim and the thummim, these lights of perfection, would not move when a man that was wicked was trying to get him to move.
Wow.
So it said he got no answer by urim nor by prophets. I want you to think about it. How could the urim answer him? What was it doing?
Lighten up.
It was lighting up. It was lighting up. But no, it's about to get real dope. It's about to get way more dope. Let's go to read on.
Verse 7.
Right?
Then said Saul unto his servants,
Right?
seek me a woman that hath a familiar spirit.
Right, because at this time, Samuel had died. So there was no high priest.
Right.
So he goes and gets this woman to go conjure up Samuel's spirit. And what does Samuel tell him? Like, nigga, you about to die.
Yeah.
You conjure me up for me to tell you that you're going to die. The Most High ain't dealing with you. Why? Because he had that iniquity in him. This is why when we read about the priests going into the holies of holies, and they said they have to slaughter that lamb because they couldn't go back there with no iniquity in them. Bro, they wouldn't be able to do the service of the Most High when they had that iniquity in them. That ephod wouldn't do its function. How were you at? Real quick, go to Wisdom of Solomon. These scriptures is hitting me as I'm talking. Go to Wisdom of Solomon 1 and verse 3.
Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 1 and verse 3.
Go ahead.
For forward thoughts.
1 verse 4. No, verse 3. Yep.
For forward thoughts separate from the Most High.
Read.
And his power.
Right? So forward thoughts that are against the wisdom, separate you from God. Now, it was more apparent in this time because of the apparatuses and tools we had. Go ahead.
And his power, when it is tried,
Go ahead.
reproveth the unwise.
Read on.
For into a malicious soul,
Right.
wisdom shall not enter.
Yeah, man. When you had that maliciousness in you, the spirit wasn't dealing with you. So the spirit wouldn't let this ephod and breastplate do what it was supposed to do when wisdom was encompassing.
So,
What's that?
so this is when they were basically sacrificing for themselves whenever they put on this breastplate and they went to go beat the Most High.
No, this was part of their garment always. So when Aaron was going to do the duty of the sanctuary, which was sacrifice for himself and the people,
Okay.
he had to wear this garment. Yeah, he could not, think about it, he could not do his job without putting this garment on.
Right.
He could not.
Okay.
This is how important the garment was, but now we're understanding why. Because of the symbolism, because of the blatant things that it did to signify I'm with y'all or I'm not with y'all. You see that? So they had to wear the garment. And like we read, why? Because now it was going to show, was there some iniquity? Was this man a false prophet? Was he a wicked king? Was he a wicked man trying to give orders? You see that? So the breastplate and the ephod They wouldn't do what they were supposed to do if a righteous man was wearing them.
Okay.
You see that?
I got it.
Right. Remember, the priests at that time were the intermediate between the people and the Most High.
Right.
So I don't want to give it away, but they would ask. Remember, let's ask the Most High.
Well, because we just mentioned that their iniquities had to be dissolved themselves.
Yeah.
So they can't go in there with any kind of wicked thoughts.
Right.
At all.
Right.
Right.
They
Because
couldn't.
they'll drop dead.
They drop dead. They have to be pure in the mind, man. They have to be pure in the mind, bro. They drop dead. That's why you hear them bells stop ringing.
You gotta pull them out.
You gotta pull them out. You tie a string to their ankle and pull them out. Oh, man down, right? Man down, hand down, right? Pull them out. Send the next one up, right? Eleazar, where you at? Right? And shit, Aaron's down, baby. Get a Baihu, right? Get him. Say he'd be, oh no, I can't go up in there. I wouldn't want to go up in there if I saw that. I'd be like, whoa, there's too much iniquity in me.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm gonna play in the background, push big bro up. You know what I'm saying? You can only imagine with the Most High, he did these things to make things so. He literally did A, B, C, D, E, F, G with us.
I was gonna say you technically eliminated the faith because you didn't have your faith. You saw your faith in front of your face. You know what I mean?
We literally didn't have to have faith in the wilderness.
Right.
Even though we still had to.
Yeah.
He made it so preschool.
Yeah.
He made it so preschool for us that, like, all you had to do was see it and believe. Seeing is believing, right? Red Sea, 10 plagues, Egypt, darkness, chariots chasing y'all, drowned in the water, manna from the sky, bitter waters turned sweet, water from a rock. What else? Wars that we fought, serpents. Look at the serpent.
Holes opening up.
Right, holes opening up and swallowing cats. Like, the Most High made us see everything. He gave us front row to everything, so you had no excuse at that time. Still ain't got no excuse, because now we're reading about it. The things that are written aforetime are written for your learning.
That's right.
He said that happened to them in the wilderness so you would learn not to lust. They were destroyed in the wilderness like that so men could learn not to be lustful. You see that? So we have no excuse even now. But then when you're like front row privy to, like, come on. Like, how you missed that, son?
Right.
Right? Like,
It
yo.
was happening. They were like,
Yeah, like, but you literally had to be blindfolded with pride.
Yes.
And literally had to have this damn evil on you and a want for Egypt to just take away all the things you saw with your own eyes.
That's so true.
I mean, damn, bro, what level of pride were we on?
Yep.
Where we were like, yeah, I'm gonna unsee that.
Right.
I knew that lit up. I knew that Red Sea parted, and I walked on dry land. I walked on dry land that start to spring grass. I know that these birds came out of nowhere and we eating good.
You brought us out here to die.
But I know that water was undrinkable 5 minutes ago, and now it's drinkable. It's so drinkable, it's like Kool-Aid. I know. I'm going to just act like none of that happened, Lord, because I'm going to do me. Because I want to be prideful. But finish up Wisdom of Solomon 1 verse 4.
Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 1, verse 4. For into a malicious soul wisdom shall not enter, nor dwell in the body that is subject unto
You
sin.
see that? So wisdom could not enter into a body that was subject to a sin or into a malicious soul. So now without wisdom, the functionality of your job couldn't take place, and the tools you had to signify your job would not work. Cold, right?
Cold.
Your garment was rendered useless. It was useless. Take that off and go put on some sackcloth. The garment was useless. Right? So where we at? Go to Samuel. Did we finish up 28 and 6? Jump to 1 Samuel 14 and 35. 1 Samuel 14 and 35. So, if y'all remember the story, this is where Jonathan was chasing the Philistines. He was he was slaughtering them out. And Saul made a vow and was like, listen, nobody stop fighting.
That's right.
And nobody eat a thing until we chase these cats down and wipe them out.
Right.
And Jonathan does what? Dips his bow into the honey, eats. Now he's cursed. Right? Also, if you knew what was going on, also, after Saul did that and the people started to eat, what were they doing? They slaughtered the animals and they were so hungry. They was damn eating them raw. Right? They was eating them bloody. So what does Saul do? Well, he says, look, everybody bring your offering here on this rock, slaughter it on this rock, right? And I'm going to build me an altar to the Lord. Most High didn't tell him to build an altar. He was wrong for that. And he was getting ready to kill Jonathan because of the vow he made.
Right.
And he was basically like, well, I didn't sin, Jonathan sinned. He sinned by breaking the vow. But nigga, you sinned by building an altar and having cats eat blood.
Right.
So that was a little synopsis of that story, right? So let's read 1 Samuel's 14:35.
1 Samuel chapter 14, verse 35.
Go ahead.
And Saul built an altar unto the Most High.
He wasn't supposed to build an altar unto the Most High, first and foremost. That wasn't his job. That was the priest. But see, Saul was very presumptuous and took things upon himself. He thought he was doing good, but he was being rebellious. And he was trying to do things for himself. Go ahead.
The same was the first altar that he built unto the Most High.
Yeah, the Most High didn't command him to do that. Go ahead.
And Saul said, let us go down after the Philistines
Right.
by night.
Go ahead.
And spoil them unto the morning light.
Read on.
And let us not leave a man of them.
Right.
And they said, do whatsoever seemeth good unto thee.
Now check this out. He said, do what, and they said, do whatsoever seemeth good unto thee. Now check this out. Read.
Then said the priest,
Right.
let us draw near hither unto the Most High.
So Saul is giving one set of orders. The priest was like, look, let's go talk to the Most High. Let's go talk to the Most High because this ain't standard. This ain't how we roll. Like, this nigga's real presumptuous. Yeah, bro. Like, wait, you gonna get us in trouble, bro. We following you. We know you the king.
Yeah.
But hey, let's go ask the Most High. Let's see what he thinks.
Right.
This ain't do what you want to do.
Yeah, it's like, do what you want, but we gonna ask God. Right? What it said in Jeremiah? He said, me and my house, we gonna serve the Lord.
Yeah.
It may seem like a hard thing for you, but me and my house, we gonna serve Yah. Right? Read verse 37.
Verse 37. And Saul asked counsel of the Most High.
Right?
Shall I go down after the Philistines?
Right. So now all of a sudden, after you built an altar, after you was rebellious as hell, now you want to come back. It's like the kid that, like you tell your kids, don't go in the fridge and get no food. Ask me first. And then they eat and they be like, can I get something to eat? After they already went in the cabinets, ate all the chips, ate all the good stuff, and they come to you like, can I have something to eat? And it's like, I told you to ask me before you took something.
Right.
Like, you don't take it and then ask.
Right.
That's backwards. What's that?
It's like that stupid saying where it's like it's better to ask for forgiveness and permission.
It's better to act. Right. That's a dumb
Dumb thing.
dumbass saying. It says obedience is better than sacrifice. That sacrifice is having to come and say, I'm sorry. The obedience is better just to say, you know what does the Most High want? What did he command me? See, Saul's issue from all the way from when he was first anointed was that he was rebellious. And that he was carnal and he was about the stuff. Like when it tells you they were about to anoint him and he was hidden amongst the stuff, he was looking at all the, like, what can I get? He was hidden amongst the treasures and the stuff. He wasn't caring about, let me be anointed and be a good leader. He was in this flesh. And he stayed like that. But the beautiful thing, Saul had Samuel, who inquired at the mouth of the Lord.
Right.
Saul had his chances too, but he would, Like, remember when Samuel told Saul, he said, wait here. On the seventh day, I'll be down to do the sacrifice of the Lord.
Yeah.
And what did Saul do?
He did the sacrifice.
He did the sacrifice himself. Wasn't his job.
No.
Samuel pulls up like, what the hell are you doing? He's like, well, I have to sacrifice to my Lord. All my men were running away and we were about to lose the war. He said, bro, it would have been better if you waited and let me do it so you could have won the war. Now, the Most High ain't dealing with you. But this is the thing. The dopest part about it was Saul had an ephod.
Yeah.
Saul had an ephod. It tells you he was not answered anymore by ephod, by prophet, or by dream. Most High cut him off. But in his rebellion, he had a chance to go to the Most High and ask. But he didn't. He just did what he wanted. He sacrificed. He built an altar. He made a vow. Right? That's why the scriptures say, be not rash with thy mouth. When thou vowest a vow, defer not to keep it. But before you vow a vow, you better line it up with the Most High. And make sure that that's going to be something that you can hold up to.
Count the cost.
Count the cost. You see that? Now, where we at? Read on.
Wilt thou deliver them into the hand of Israel?
Go ahead.
But he answered him not that day.
Yeah, the Most High was like, it was crickets. It said he answered him not that day. Now remember, this is already after Saul is already chasing out David. So his wickedness has superseded any good that was in him. Most High was not dealing with him, dude. And the Philistines came down. He went to war. Philistines came and whooped on Saul. Go to Hosea 3. Go to Hosea 3 real quick. I thought I had. Put it in. There it is. Okay, perfect. Hosea 3 and verse 4. Yep.
Hosea chapter 3 and verse 4.
Right.
For the children of Israel shall abide many days without a king.
Right, so this is when the Most High told Hosea, he was like, listen, go get you a harlot.
Yeah.
Go get you a harlot and marry a harlot. And he said he paid the money for the harlot, married her, and he instructed her. He said, listen, you're going to abide with me many days. I'm going to be for you. You're going to be for me. I'm going to rule over you, basically. Right. So the Most High was saying, listen, we're like harlots, right? And you're going to abide many days without a king. Go ahead.
And without a prince.
Read.
And without a sacrifice.
Go ahead.
And without an image.
Because we did have images. They just weren't like we were bowing down to them. Go ahead.
And without an ephod.
And without the ephod. Why was this so important? And without what else?
And without teraphim.
Right. That was another word for like idol. But it wasn't, again, it wasn't wicked. This is a graven image. It's the menorah. It was a man-made thing that was used for the service. You see that? All the spoons and plates and snuff bowls and all the things we read about in Exodus, those are graven images. Those can be idolized if you ain't in the right mind. They were literally idols. We just didn't serve them. They were for our service. But the Most High said, all that's cut off from you. But why did he throw the ephod in there?
Because it showed the light.
It showed the light, right? It gave the confirmation. Right? But see, y'all think it's just that. Y'all think it's just that. Go to Numbers. So, and I know I'm kind of, it's not a long class, man. I didn't want to make this super long and super complicated. So, we hit a few points, though. We hit, basically, and I should have hit y'all with the, what is the urim, the thummim, and the ephod. That's what we hit from Exodus 28 all the way down. And then when we went to the first Josephus, how it worked. That's the point I put. Like, what did it do? What did the ephod do, or the breastplate do? The next point after we went to book 3, chapter 8, section 9, to prevent false prophets. Okay? Then the next point, righteous kings and judges received instruction from the Most High. Right? We know that the ephod lit up. So let's read Numbers 27 and verse 18.
Numbers chapter 27, verse 18. And the Most High said unto Moses, take thee Joshua the son of Nun, a man in whom is the Spirit, and lay thy hand upon him.
Right? You see that? And the Lord said unto Moses, take thee Joshua, son of Nun, a man in whom is the Spirit. This is very important, and it goes right to what Bakar Gabar said. Wow, the Most High's wisdom is perfect, is a perfect light. So if the urim and the thummim didn't light up, it shows who wasn't operating in the spirit and wisdom of the Most High. God. If there's no light, there's what? It's dark. So think of what does darkness signify? Yahweh, should we go to war? And it's dark. You're like, oh, we gonna lose that. But guess what? Niggas still win. Now, think about this. We had the urim and the thummim when the Most High said, go spy out the land of Canaan. He sent Joshua, he sent Caleb. They came back, 2 good reports, 10 garbage reports. 10 faithless ass reports, and 2 righteous, faithful, dedicated, diligent reports. We're going to do it. Right? Now you see why that wilderness check was so hard? Because the Most High said, go spy out the land. Y'all got it. And you still come back like, nah, we can't do it. Ridiculous. Oh, we're going to go fight the Canaanites. Are we going to win? No light. Well, we're going to go fight anyway. And what happened? We went and fought and got whooped. We got whooped. The Most High did not give the confirmation. Y'all see that? Y'all got to go back and read that story. When he sent them. Now, why he said a man in whom is the Spirit? Because the Spirit, the wisdom, the faith, the diligence, the belief, that had to be in you. Now check this out. Read on.
And set him before Eleazar the priest.
Right, so you had Eleazar. Go ahead.
And before all the congregation.
Go ahead.
And give him a charge in their sight.
So this was Moses literally putting Joshua and letting the people know, this is my man. This is going to be the guy. So y'all look at him. Now listen, we only in Numbers here. We still had, Deuteronomy, right? Still had the whole book of Deuteronomy. You still had some years to go before Moses actually passed. I think it was 40 years that Joshua was under Moses before Moses passed. So 40 years prior, Most High is like, that's the dude. Put him before the priest, anoint him, right? Go ahead.
And thou shalt put some of thine honor upon him.
Right, you're going to put your honor, Moses, the respect, the love that the people have. You're going to make sure that you endorse him. Go ahead.
That all the congregation of the children of Israel may be obedient.
Go ahead.
And he shall stand before Eleazar the priest.
Go ahead.
Who shall ask counsel for him.
They shall do what?
Ask counsel for him.
This is cold. Said they're going to ask counsel for Joshua. Because Joshua's going to say, okay, let me go to the priest real quick. Should we go to war? Should we not? Should we make this move? Should we not? Should we go to this country? Should we not? That was the counsel that it was talking about. Go ahead.
After the judgment.
After the what?
Judgment.
Go ahead.
Of Urim.
Of the Urim. Go ahead.
Before the Most High.
Go ahead. Read on.
At his word.
Wait. At his what?
At his word.
Wait. The Urim did what?
His word.
Y'all get it? So it wasn't that it just lit up. It was called an oracle. An oracle speaks. Now, listen very closely. I'm not saying that the damn breastplate start talking. I'm not saying that the breastplate start talking, because that would be crazy, right? But what did happen was they heard the voice. They heard a voice speaking. They heard a voice speaking. Now, I know y'all like, wait, what? Huh? A voice? Nah. Well, remember, when Yahweh Shai was standing with the apostles and the Most High, so the voice came down from heaven and said, this is my son, trust in him. I'm misquoting it, but they heard a voice from heaven. Right? And that was thousands of years after this. And the Most High was still operating in that way. Go to Hebrews. I didn't throw this in there. Go to Hebrews chapter 1 and verse 1. We hit it Monday, but go to Hebrews 1 and 1 to solidify this point that because you're in your mind, you're like, well, that ain't happening. Well, no, it happened. Hebrews 1 and 1, read.
Hebrews chapter 1 verse 1. God, who at sundry times,
Right.
and in diverse manners,
Go ahead.
spake.
He spake in diverse manners. Diverse means all sorts of different ways. It wasn't what you were used to. Fiery bush. So now we're understanding the burning bush was one. Balaam and the donkey. Right? The urim and the thummim. Right? What else? There's a few. What else? Listen, he spoke to the people, and not spoke, but he let the people know, go to this city or go here through the pillar. Right? The pillar by day, the fire by night. It said when the pillar went, we went behind it. When it moved, we moved. When it stopped, we stopped. So that was another way of him directing the people and talking to the people. So there was many diverse manners that the Most High dealt with us on to get us going and to keep us locked in with him. Think about it, man. There were so many different ways, but this ephod was very significant. It was very significant. Now you can understand when you read about Samuel. Watch, I'm gonna just pull it real quick. Cause I always wonder, like, why did they just throw that in there? Like he was 5 when he ministered, and then he wore the ephod. Like, what the hell does that matter? Why was the ephod so? It's 1 Samuel. Like, why was that so significant? Where is it? Oh, here it is. 1 Samuel 2:18. Read it.
1 Samuel chapter 2 verse 18. But Samuel ministered before the Most High.
Go ahead.
Being a child.
Being a child. Go ahead.
Girded with a linen ephod.
Like, why was that so important and significant to say? Because that ephod was showing who was in the spirit. The part of the ministering of the priest was to wear that ephod, and when they ministered, it directed what was right, what was wrong, the sacrifice, this, that. You see that? It was very significant. I'm gonna hit y'all with something. He said, what did Bakar say? I never read this or learned about this in church.
Yes.
Bro, you know what's wild? I remember, you know who put this class in my head? It was Lakarab. He had asked me a question about David wearing the ephod. And I was like, man, let me look into that. Because why was he rocking something the priest was supposed to wear?
Right.
I said, let me look into that. And I remember one Sabbath, dude, it was one Sabbath, like 2-3 weeks ago. I came in a little bit later and I sat in a little computer seat and I put the whole class together while they were doing Sabbath classes. God, I put the whole class together. I was so hyped because I'm reading it and I'm like, what the? Yeah. It was blowing my mind. I was like, damn, this is cold. I can't wait to drop this. I mean, bruh, church ain't gonna bring these things out because church makes everything mystical, spooky.
Right.
And the one thing, they try to box the Most High in to this thing that we can contain him. This right here is showing the omnipotence of the Most High. Remember when he said I could raise up stones to worship me? So why the hell can't he make them light up? I mean, think about it. He said I'll raise stones to worship me. So you mean to tell me he can't light up some rocks that he created? But see, church, they make everything mystical and spooky, and they don't make things applicable. They don't make things reasonable. But that's why we go through the scriptures to get the reason and the sense. You see what I'm saying? Even as it is mystical, As mystical as it is, like, dang, dude, I could imagine this damn chest plate lighting up.
Yeah.
Well, let's go to your favorite superheroes.
Yeah.
Where do you think they get it from? When you read in Daniel's and it said the Most High, it said he issued a fire from his eyes. Right? When it talks about David having superhuman strength, bending bows of steel, leaping walls with a single bound, having legs like hind legs. It said Joab and Abner, it said they were swift as roes. It said Saul and Jonathan were swift as eagles. Bro, where do you think your local superhero, where they conjure him up from? This Bible. Where do you think they got cats, they bust open their chest and a beam goes out? Where do you think they get that from? They get that from the scriptures. So they're showing you that they believe in it. Church? Nah, not so much. Because that's weird. But a ghost makes you dance and vomit, backflip, and do the hokey pokey. That ain't weird. And make you talk weird language. That ain't weird. But this ephod, that's weird. That ain't biblical. But you talking gibberish and vomiting on yourself ain't weird. I mean,
Come on now.
you eating pork ain't weird.
Come on.
That ain't weird. It's weird to eat the garbage disposal, ain't it?
Yes.
Ain't it weird to eat the garbage disposal? That ain't weird. Like chitterlings, to eat the boo-boo tract of an animal, that ain't weird. That ain't weird, right? No one finds that a little bit odd. That's godly somehow.
Right.
You see my point? Most High said he'll raise up stones to worship him. So, listen, it ain't nothing for them to light up. It ain't nothing, man. Where we at?
We are at verse 19 for 1 Samuel.
Go ahead, read on.
1 Samuel chapter 2, verse 19.
Right, no, you see that. So it said he wore the linen ephod. It was a small, minute detail, but it was a very important detail.
It's all in the detail.
It showed who was in. And you know what's cool about it? You know what's cool about it? Because right before you read that, it was talking about who? Eli's sons. It was giving you this parallel of Eli's sons. Now, Eli's sons, Eli was the high priest.
Right.
His sons were the lower priests.
Right.
They didn't rock the same ephod. And neither did Samuel. But guess what? They might as well not rock the ephod at all.
Right.
Because of what they were doing.
Right.
The Most High was definitely not with them. But it was showing that the Most High was with Samuel.
Right.
Y'all see that? And him wearing this ephod.
Right.
What's that?
Just a quick question. When did it have lit up when the Most High went to Samuel? When did it have lit up if Eli was actually doing what he was supposed to do? He would have knew the Most High was there.
He would have known the Most High was there. But that's why when they went to the war and his sons died and he fell off the thing, Most High wasn't rocking with them.
Yeah, Khan.
So he knew his fate.
Right.
That's the worst thing, when you know your fate and try to avoid it.
Right. He had to go through Samuel to get his fate. Instead of him being able to go to the Most High, being a high priest.
And because Samuel was the one that was telling him what was going on. Most High stopped dealing with Eli.
Khan.
Remember that? When the Most High came to Samuel in a dream?
Samuel's been a young man too.
Bro, he was only a boy.
Yeah.
Listen, he got given up after he was weaned.
Yeah.
He was no more than 5 years old.
No, I'm saying when Eli went to him.
Right. He was still a boy. Yeah. Oh yeah. He was still a young man. But the Most High was dealing with Samuel and not Eli.
Yeah.
Eli was supposed to have that intercession with the Most High. But guess what? That ephod wasn't doing nothing.
Nope.
So he's like, wait a minute. You getting dreams from God? Because I'm not. Where they at? Like, what's going on? Is the Most High talking to you? He was really pushing Samuel to let him know what was being said. Why? Because he wasn't getting that. He was cut off. He was cut off because he wasn't doing what he was supposed to do concerning his sons. He didn't check them. You see that? It's cold.
It's cold.
It's cold. Jump back to Numbers. Read verse 21. Numbers 27 and 21.
Numbers chapter 27, verse 21.
Right?
And he shall stand before Eleazar the priest,
Right?
who shall ask counsel for him
Right?
after the judgment of Urim before the Most High.
Right. After the judgment of the Urim before the Most High. Go ahead. What else?
At his word.
At his what?
Word.
So there was words that came with the light. I'm going to prove it. Y'all like, no, I'm going to prove it with scriptures. Read.
shall they go out, and at his word they shall come in.
Go ahead.
Both he
Right.
and all the children of Israel
Read.
with him.
Read.
Even all the congregation.
So not only did you get this light, you also got verbal confirmation. I'm gonna show you. But before we go to the scriptures, what's that?
In Avengers Infinity Wars,
Yep.
the Infinity Stones look like the Tri-Stones.
God, where did they get it from?
Yeah.
Where do you think they get Infinity Stones?
Time Stone, the Emerald, and
The red one.
The red one, yeah,
That's a
the-
sapphire.
yeah.
Yeah.
The orange one, I think it's the Benjamin.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's better. Yep. Where you think they get that from? Come on, man. These cats was in the scriptures.
Yep.
And they made it into a damn fantasy.
Yeah.
But
You don't have to believe in the Bible. That's
so you ain't gotta believe in the scriptures. When you read the Bible, you're like, oh, the Bible bit off the comics.
Right.
Like, hell nah. Bible been around way before the comics, man.
Right.
Right? So let's go back to the Josephus real quick. And you're gonna go into you gotta look for this. You gotta go to Josephus, is book 3, chapter 8. You're gonna go down into the end notes.
The end notes.
Yeah, so go to page 93
Yes, sir.
and look on the left side under section 9. You see where there's a little F? It says E, and then there's a little F. It says these answered by the oracle.
Yes, sir.
Right. So read that. So we're back into Josephus, right? A little history, and then we're gonna get scriptural confirmation that there was an oracle, there was a verbal command after the Ephod did its thing. So you got, remember, the Most High said, "Let all things be established in the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses." You have 2 things that establish a purpose. So he didn't just give you one confirmation; he gave you 2. Read where we at.
These answers by the oracle of Urim and Thummim,
Right?
which words signify light and perfection.
You see that? The light signified light and perfection. That's Hebrew. Go ahead.
Are, as the Septuagint renders them, revelation and truth.
And that wouldn't be the translation of those words because we're dealing with the Hebrew. Go ahead.
And denote nothing further
Right?
that I see but the shining stones themselves,
Right?
which were used in this method of illumination and revealing the will of the Most High.
Go ahead.
After a perfect and true manner to his people Israel.
Go ahead.
I say, these answers were not made by the shining of the precious stones, after an awkward manner.
So it wasn't awkward that this happened. Remember when he said, and I think it needless to describe their nature, they being known to everybody? This was common, what these stones did, that they lit up. It was common. It was common. Go ahead.
And the high priest's breastplate,
Right?
as the modern stones, as the modern rabbis vainly suppose.
So what he was saying was, at this time, the modern rabbis thought that it was just some stones lighting up weirdly. He's coming back and letting us know, no, first of all, it wasn't some anomaly, and it wasn't just that they lit up. Go ahead.
For certainly the shining of the stones might precede or accompany the oracle.
Might accompany the what?
The oracle.
That's why the Greeks called it the oracle, the breastplate. They called it the oracle. Oracle means to speak. Go ahead.
Without it self-delivering that oracle.
Go ahead.
But rather by an audible voice.
Right.
From the mercy seat.
From the what?
Mercy seat.
Now you understand the significance of the mercy seat. Remember the glory of the Most High. He said, I would appear in between the cherubims. You remember the mercy seat? Right. It was on the Ark of the Covenant. Had the 2 cherubs with their wings kind of like praising.
four children.
Yeah. And there was a seat. And he said, I would appear on the mercy seat. The mercy seat was in the Holy of the Holies. And that's where he said, when my glory appears, then y'all got to clear the hell out. Y'all going to die. But it said there will be an audible voice from the mercy seat. Remember, in diverse manners. in diverse matters did the Most High speak to the people in the past. But he said now he speaks to us through his son. And how is that? Well, that's just through the word. That's just through his example. Go ahead, read on.
Between the cherubims.
Right.
At the year 534.
Right, no, that's it on that. Right. Jump down to where it says, now it is here very well worth our observation.
Now, it is here very well worth our observation.
Go ahead.
That the oracle before us was that by which God appeared to be present with.
Go ahead.
And gave directions.
And did what?
Gave directions.
He did what?
Gave directions.
Go ahead.
To his people,
read on.
Israel, as their king.
Woo! It is a wicked thing for you to ask for a king, seeing that you already have one. Now you see why the Most High was so pissed at that?
Yeah.
Why he said it was wicked? So how you gonna replace me? And I'm sitting here talking to y'all.
God.
Bro, this is nasty. Go ahead.
All the while, they submitted to him in that captivity.
In that capacity.
Uh-huh.
And that capacity, and did not set over them such independent kings.
Right, until we did. Go ahead.
As governed according to their own wills.
Go ahead.
And political maxims.
Go ahead.
Instead of divine direction.
You see that? So it's saying that we were at least at one time smart enough not to try to appoint a man that was after his own political gain or his own political come up. But we dealt with the Most High because of his divine will. And then Jeshurun Rax Fat and Kid lightly esteemed the rock of his salvation. You see that? Go ahead.
Accordingly, we meet with this oracle. Besides angelic and prophetic admonitions, all along from the days of Moses
go ahead.
And Joshua.
Go ahead.
To the anointing of Saul.
Go ahead.
The first of the succession of the kings.
So this meeting went all the way to Saul. Now, just do the math. Why you think it got cut off? Because after Saul, that was it. After Saul, that was it. There was no more Ephod.
Ooh, con.
It said the Ephod was cut off for 200 years, all the way up into the Maccabees. There was no more. But it goes right with the Hosea. He said, they will have no Ephod, they will have no king, they will have no prince, they will have, bro,
cold.
Crazy. Right? Go from there. No. Go from of the kings. Go ahead. Yeah, read that.
Nay, till Saul's rejection of the divine commandments and the war with Amalek.
Right.
When he took upon him to act as he thought fit.
Go ahead, read on. Jump over to the next bottom half.
Then this oracle left Saul entirely.
It said it left him entirely. He would ask, and guess what? No answer. No answer. Because remember, it tells you when it tells you in the scriptures that when that happened, it said Saul no longer came. Samuel no longer came to Saul until the day of his death. He stopped dealing with him. So there was no. That's why he said he got no answer from dream, from prophet, or from Ephod, or from urim. Right? So from there. Man, it was something that was so cold. The fear of the Most High should have been on everyone. So let's see. Did we get verbal confirmation from the Ephod? Go to 1 Samuel 23 and verse 8.
1 Samuel chapter 23. Chapter 23.
I told y'all this was a fun class.
I love this.
It's fun to me. I mean, hey, put it together, I was like, oh, this is beautiful. Go ahead.
1 Samuel chapter 23 and verse 8. And Saul called all the people together to war, to go down to Gilgal,
right,
to besiege David and his men. And David knew that Saul secretly practiced mischief against him.
Woo! Go ahead.
And he said to Abiathar, he said to Abiathar, the priest.
Right, he was the priest at the time. What did he say to him? Read.
Bring hither the ephod.
Why? What was the significance of the ephod? Well, guess what? Let's ask the Lord. Remember, he said, you do what you seems right to you. Let us go inquire at the Lord. This is what made David righteous over Saul.
Right.
He didn't take it upon himself like, man, I know Saul's coming to get me. Let me gird up my loins. Let me get my guns. You know what I'm saying? Y'all niggas mount up. He said, bring the ephod. Read.
Then said David, O Lord God of Israel.
He said what?
O Lord God of Israel.
He started talking to the Most High. Read.
Thy servant hath certainly heard that Saul seeketh to come to Goliath to destroy the city for my sake.
Go ahead.
Will the men of Goliath deliver me unto his hand?
He's having a straight conversation. Go ahead, read.
Will Saul come down as thy servant have heard?
Right, go ahead.
O Lord, power of Yasharallah, I beseech thee, tell thy servant. And the Most High said.
Wait, what?
The Most High said.
He did what?
The Most High said.
He said what?
He will come down.
Woo! Come on now. It wasn't just like a con or a lie. He literally spoke words and said he will come down. Read on.
Then said David, will the men of Goliath deliver me and my men into the hand of Saul?
Go ahead.
And the Most High said, that they will deliver thee up.
Jump over from there, from 1 Samuel 30. Let's go to 30 in verse 3.
Samuel.
There was more than just a con. It was more than just a la'ah. It was more than just a light. Like blink once for yes, blink two for no. Nah, bruh. There was an oracle associated with this ephod. He told Abiathar, he was like, bring your ephod, bro. We gotta go talk to the Most High.
And even with that, it's like since the Most High is guiding everything, and they brought the ephod, that means like the Most High told them to follow David. Right? That's why he was able to be like, get the ephod, because it was already with him.
Yes. Yep. Listen, when David went and took the showbread from the priest, they said, we have nothing under our hands except for the sword you slayed Goliath with and the ephod. He said, give them to me. He said, those will be perfect. Why did they put the ephod with the sword? What was the significance? This was the connection. This was the connection to the Most High at the time. This is how you knew that the Most High was rocking with you or not. If that thing lit up, do your thing. If not, you better keep quiet. Go ahead, read on. Where we at?
1 Samuel chapter 30, verse 3. So David and his men came to the city.
Right.
And behold, it was burned with fire.
Right.
And their wives and their sons and their daughters were taken captives. Then David and the people that were with him lifted up their voice and wept until they had no more power to weep.
Right.
And David's two wives were taken captive.
Right.
Ahinoam, the Jezreelite, and Abigail, the wife of Nabal,
the Carmelite. Now, Abigail was dope.
Yeah.
She was beautiful and she had wisdom. So think about it. Your wife get kidnapped. What you doing? You shooting first, ask questions last. I'm going to go get that. I got to go get my wife back. And your whole city is just wrecked. Come on now. I don't got time to think. I got to just act.
Right.
Read on.
And David was greatly distressed, for the people spake of stoning him.
So he was like, they like blaming David because he's in this city. You brought this upon us. This was Saul. So they're blaming David now. Excuse me. I think this was Absalom. I think Absalom did this. I have to go back into the story. I think this is when Absalom was trying to take power. Right or no? It's 1 Samuel 1.
No, this is still Saul.
This is Saul, right? Right. This is Saul. So Saul comes in, wrecks this city.
All in search of David.
And you know what was crazy about this? So David, in the kingdom past, when David and his men were come to Ziklag on the third day that the invaded the south, smitten. No, this was the Amalekites. Right.
Oh, God.
The Amalekites came through. Because remember, David was smacking the Amalekites. He was smacking them up. If you remember when he was on the run, he went to one of the kings and was like, listen, give me a city that I can live in. There's no, why should I live in the city with you? Give me my own city. And he gave him a whole city. And then because why? He was going out, smacking up the Philistines, bringing back the cattle, giving it to the king. Bro, this dude gave David a whole city. They said that was the city of Judah until this day. A city of Judah. That's how dope David was.
Yeah.
Where the Most High was like, look, I'm going to have kings giving you cities, bro. Saul, not so much. So the Amalekites came in, vengeance, mad, pissed off, slaughtered the people. Because remember, David had to leave the cities when he heard that Saul knew where he was. So he had to run out of a city. Because his whole thing was, if I'm going to fight Saul, I'm not going to fight in the city and put the people in jeopardy. But I'm going to just run so I don't got to fight. And I'm going to hide. And then he's going to pass by. I'm going to go back. So he was looking out for the cities.
That's a great man.
Yeah, he was a good man. Saul, not so much.
He would have killed everybody in the city.
And whoever was beautiful, whatever was for his use, he kept it. So this was the Amalekites. So now the people are blaming David for this invasion and this disruption. They want to stone him. Go ahead.
Because the soul of the people was grieved.
Right.
Every man for his sons and for his daughters. But David encouraged himself and the Most High.
Wait, he did what? He did what?
Encouraged himself.
No, he got upset.
Encouraged himself.
No. He took it upon himself to just do what was necessary at the time.
Encouraged himself.
Listen, he didn't react to the people, man. He stayed in the spirit. Go ahead.
In the Most High, his power.
Right.
And David said to Abiathar the priest, Ahimelech's son,
right?
I pray thee, bring me hither the ephod.
Here it goes again. Bring me hither the ephod. Go ahead.
And Abiathar brought thither the ephod to David.
Right.
And David inquired.
Read. He asked. Read.
At the Most High.
Go ahead.
Saying, shall I pursue after this troop?
Go ahead.
Shall I overtake them?
So everything David did, bro, he asked for permission. Saul, he was like, no, we're going to chase him down and y'all ain't going to eat until everyone's dead. And look what he did. Had the people eating blood. David is like, wait a minute, it took my wife. He's asking permission to go get his wife.
Like, how angry do you have to be, but you're still like, let me go to the
Most High. It says, be anxious for nothing, but in all things, prayer and supplication. It took 2 of his ribs. And not to mention the other people's children and women. They want to kill him. And he still was like, do I go or do I not go? Because he knew if he would have went and it wasn't the will of the Most High, bro, that journey would have been for nothing. He would have got wiped out. So he he inquired at the Most High's mouth. Go ahead.
And he answered him, pursue.
Go ahead.
For thou shalt surely overtake them.
Read.
And without fail recover all.
See that? Cold, right? Cold. So from there, just showing that you have to be chosen to wear this ephod. You have to have the Spirit on you. And there was instances in the scriptures. I'll give you this one where Gideon. Go to Judges 8:27.
Judges chapter 8 verse 27.
You have to be chosen to wear the ephod. You have to be chosen to build the ephod. What did Gideon do? Read.
Judges chapter 8 verse 27.
Go ahead.
And Gideon made an ephod.
Took it upon himself to make an ephod. Because he knew the significance of it. From Joshua. From Moses. So he's like, man, I'm going to make me an ephod. I want that power. Go ahead.
thereof, and put it in his city, even in Ophrah. And all Israel went thither a whoring after it.
They did what?
Went thither a whoring after it.
Everybody wanted this ephod. Everybody wanted to have the power. Everybody wanted to yield the power, wield the power. Go ahead.
Which thing became a snare unto Gideon and to his house.
Yeah, that wasn't for him to do.
Damn.
Go, and we're going to end this early, but I want to bring this point out. Go to 2 Samuel 6:14. And we named a lot of people that rocked the ephod. When you deal with Doeg the Edomite, it said he slayed, I want to give the correct number. It's in Samuel. Where you at?
2 Samuel chapter 6, verse 14.
Go ahead, read that.
2 Samuel chapter 6, verse 14. And David danced before the Most High.
Right, so when you read 1 Samuel 22 and 18, it says, and the king said to Doeg, this was Saul, he said to Doeg the Edomite, turn thou and fall upon the priest. And Doeg the Edomite turned and he fell upon the priest and slew on that day 85 persons that did wear a linen ephod. 80 is 80. And 5. He's killed 85 men that wore the ephod. 85 men with this close contact with the Most High that were basically anointed to make intercession with the people. Now, read where you at.
1 Samuel chapter 6, verse 14. And David danced before the Most High.
Right.
With all his might.
So this is after David brought the Ark of the Covenant in. Said he danced before the Most High. Go ahead.
And David was girded with the linen ephod.
Now, think about, what's that?
What did it mean by he danced? Like, did he actually, like...
He danced. Yeah. He literally danced. He literally was dancing. He was dancing for joy. But it said he was girded with the linen ephod. Go ahead.
So David and all the house of Israel brought up the ark of the Most High.
Why would it make that be known? Like he had a linen ephod. Okay, big deal. Could you imagine? Check this out. Could you imagine David there dancing in the middle of the city, and this ephod is lighting up, and the people are jumping for damn joy because they see that the Most High is with them and with David. And one reckless, dog mouth, street rat, knowing that the Most High is with David and seeing it, spoke against it. Now you understand why David put her ass away and she had no children? Why he dealt with her so harshly? You see the Most High is with me. You see it.
She had the spirit of her father on her.
I was going to go into that. She had the spirit of Saul on her. You know why? Because Saul wore the ephod, but guess what he didn't do with it? He didn't use it. So she's like, why are you so religious? That don't mean nothing. Because she was looking at her dad not be religious and let's go ask the Most High. Right. She looked at her father take things upon himself and be presumptuous. So she looking at David like, what's your problem, bro? It ain't that serious. Because she was looking at her dad's example. Right. You see that? This is why David, this is a good lesson for
It's true.
Listen, it's a good lesson. Can two walk together, at least they be in agreement? No. If she ain't with you, get rid of her. David did it. David did it. He saw that she was rolling with the spirit of Saul, and he locked her ass up. No children. This says she shall be saved in childbearing. Not this one. Not this one. She got to be saved another way. Right. Childbearing wasn't going to do it. It wasn't going to do it. It wasn't going to keep her in order. I'm going to lock you away. But now you see why it was so harsh. He like, damn, she talked reckless. Job's wife talked reckless. There was reckless talk. Eve, she was reckless. And then she went, had kids. They had Cain, Abel, right? Creation. Why did David deal so harsh? because the presence of the Most High was being disrespected. That's true. Not David.
David didn't play that at all.
The Most High was being disrespected, and David don't play that. He said, "I'm gonna be more violent." Watch, read it. I'm talking it. Read it.
2 Samuel chapter 6, verse 15. So David and all the house of Israel brought up the ark of the Most High with shouting and with the sound of the trumpet. And as the ark of the Most High came into the city of David,
Right.
Michal, Saul's daughter, looked through a window.
Now remember, this was David's first wife. It said he loved her. She loved him.
Right.
She loved. Look, she saved his life. She snuck him down through a damn window.
Yeah.
And put a bolster in the bed to make it look like him, knowing her daddy was coming to kill him. So think about it. The punishment. You're like, damn, that punishment don't fit the crime. Yeah, it did.
It did.
Because when he had that ephod on, she should have known better. She should have known better regardless. But how much more should you have known? Imagine him sitting there dancing, and that thing is just like, whoop, 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 and the people are like, yeah! And they're just going crazy because they're realizing and seeing that what was going on was approving. They were getting the approval of the Most High. Just imagine that. Now, I'm not saying that's exactly what happened. I'm not saying that's exactly what happened because it don't say that. But from what we went through, and I'm like, why would it say the ephod? David danced. Man, listen, he was probably dancing on them lights, man. Right? Go ahead, read on. Derek, you had a question?
Yes, those lights could have been doing something totally different that day too, though. Probably
Meaning what?
strobe lights.
That's what I'm saying. He was dancing with the lights.
They're like, what is this?
Yeah, it was a strobe. That was the first disco.
But my question was though, why was David dancing?
What it's going to tell you? Read verse 15 again.
Verse 15. So David and all the house of Israel brought
Right.
up the ark of the Most High.
It's because they were getting they got the Ark of the Covenant. They recovered it back.
Okay.
Remember, the Ark of the Covenant was taken. The Philistines, they had it at a time. Remember, David was moving it, and Uzzah, he touched it and they killed him, and they left it in Obed-Edom.
Right, and all the blessings came to old boy.
Yeah, and all the blessings was in Obed-Edom's house. They didn't want to move it because Uzzah, the ark was shaking, and he touched it.
Yeah.
But the commandment was, no one touched the ark. The only ones that were supposed to even come close to it was a specific Levite family. Not even all the Uzzah was a Levite, but he wasn't supposed to touch it. You weren't supposed to touch the actual ark. Then a specific Levi family carried the ark with staves, those long poles that went through, and they were able to lift it up that way. But it started to rock, and Uzzah was like, "Oh no, let me save the heavy ark." Nah, bro, and he died. So David, it said David was weary. He said it troubled him in the spirit that the Most High made a breach upon Uzzah. So he was like, man, I ain't messing with this ark. Put that in Obed-Edom, leave that there. But then now they go back and they get it after all the, it was taken by the Philistines. They had it. It was so much that went on with this ark. So now David gets back the ark. So that's why they're happy and celebrating.
So he got the right family to get the ark, the ones that were supposed to handle the ark.
Right. He got everything right. He had the right family regardless. It was just that Uzzah was there. Remember, the ark went and people marched behind the ark and around the ark. He seen that it was falling. He went against the commandment. Obedience is better than sacrifice. He became the sacrifice. He died by touching the ark. He wasn't supposed to. So David was kind of like troubled. He was like, man, I ain't messing with this ark. And so he took it to Obed-Edom, which was another Levite. He took it and left it there. He put it in his house. Yeah. And they start getting blessed and all this stuff. So a lot of things happen with the ark. So now David brings the ark back into Jerusalem. So he's happy. They're happy. The people are happy. The ark, bro, even the Ark of the Covenant. Remember, the Ark of the Covenant had the mercy seat on it.
Yeah.
And it had the law, it had the showbread, it had all these things of the temple inside of it. You see that? The Ark of the Covenant had powers. You walk around the Jericho 7 times and chant, bam, it dropped the walls. You see that? So the Ark of the Covenant was another thing that was very significant in our history, one of our very most significant artifacts. You see that? So to get that back after all that time, they were happy. They brought it back to where it belonged. Listen, they still fight over the Ark of the Covenant. Them damn Ethiopians, they swear up and down they got the Ark of the Covenant, the real one. They swear to Yah. And they might. They might. It's useless to us. Somebody else got our language. So why wouldn't somebody else have the Ark of the Covenant? When you go to them Ethiopian churches, they have an Ark of the Covenant in every one of those churches. But they claim that there's a church in Ethiopia that has the real Ark of the Covenant. So they might have it. They don't let nobody see it though. They don't let nobody see it. They don't let nobody go back where it's at. But they might have it. But so now it's just a graven image. Now it's useless to us. It's useless without having the language, the heritage, the belief, the faith, the consistency. It's useless.
Yes.
You see that? But at this time, the people were happy because we got it back. Right. And David was getting that confirmation from the people, from the Most High. Read on.
Verse 16. And as the ark of the Most High came into the city of David, Michal, Saul's daughter,
right,
looked through a window and saw King David leaping and dancing for the Most High.
Right.
And she despised him in her heart.
Yeah, she was like, nigga, you got this ephod on dancing like a fool. My dad never did that. A real king don't do that. Why? Because Saul never conferred with the ephod. He never asked at the Most High's mouth. Now y'all see, like, she was comparing David to her dad. Spiritually, physically, and saying, what's the significance of this? It's pointless.
Didn't even try.
Because she was looking at the way her dad would move. This is why David canceled her. Read on.
And they brought in the ark of the Most High and set it in its place.
Go ahead, set it in its place. Read.
In the midst of the tabernacle of David.
Go ahead.
Had pitched for it. And David offered burnt offerings and peace offerings before the Most High.
Read.
And as soon as David made an end of the offering, burnt offerings and peace offerings, he blessed the people in the name of the Most High of hosts.
Right.
And he dealt among all people, even among the whole multitude of Israel, as well to the women as men.
Right, and all you got to do is read up in this chapter, Derek, and it'll tell you about the story of Uzzah. Right, in verse 6, it tells you, and when they came into Nacon's threshing floor, Uzzah put forth his hand to the ark of God and took hold of it, for the oxen shook it. The anger of the Lord was kindled against Uzzah, and the Most High smote him there for his error, and he died by the ark. And David was displeased because the Lord had made a breach upon Uzzah, and he called the name of this place Perez Uzzah to this day. And David was afraid of the Lord that day, and said, how shall the ark of the Lord come to me? So David would not remove the ark of the Lord unto him into the city of David, but David carried it aside into the house of Obed-Edom, the Gittite, which the Gittite, yeah, and I believe that he was a Levite also. The Gittite was just a family of the Levites. So that's what happened. So the ark stayed there, right? And the ark of the Lord continued in the house of Obed-Edom, the Gittite, 3 months. So the ark was supposed to go to the city of David in the tabernacle, but it ends up in Obed-Edom's house for 3 months. Why? Because David was shook. Think about he was scared for 3 months to touch the ark. So when he finally was like, okay, it might be safe, and when they see that it was safe, nobody died from moving it, he was happy. He was happy to accomplish what the Most High wanted him to do. Think about it. Whatsoever thou do it joyfully. Since you don't do it with joy, I'm going to put your ass in captivity. So all these examples of how we're supposed to move when the Most High gives us that order. David was happy to do the will of the Most High. You see that? Go ahead.
To every one a cake of bread.
Right.
And a good piece of flesh.
Right.
And a flagon of wine.
So then they had a feast. He gave everybody some flesh, some bread, and a wine. They had a feast, man. Go ahead.
So all the people departed, every one to his house. Then David returned to bless his household. And Michal, the daughter of Saul, came out to meet David and said, how glorious was the king of Israel today, who uncovered himself today in the eyes of the handmaids of his servants.
Right, so he was just rocking the ephod. And she's like, nigga, you was naked in front of the servants. She missed the whole point. But that ephod, you could only imagine what that ephod was doing, giving that confirmation, giving that visual. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead.
As one of the vain fellows shamelessly uncovered himself.
Go ahead.
And David said unto Micah, it was before the Most High.
It was what?
It was before the Most High.
Who was there? The Most
Most High.
High. Right? Remember it said it would light up and signify the Most High's presence? He said it was before the Most High that I danced. Go ahead.
Which chose me before thy father.
Ooh! Boop, boop, boop. Shots. Ooh. Somebody's getting a divorce.
Oh.
Go ahead.
And before all his house.
Read.
To appoint me ruler
Go ahead.
over the people of the Most High.
Go ahead.
Over Israel. Therefore I will play before the Most High.
Go ahead.
And I will yet be more vile than thus.
Uh-huh.
And will be base in my own
I'm
sight.
looking real stupid with it. Go ahead.
Ooh, God.
And of the maidservants which thou hast spoken of them shall I be had an honor.
Yeah, because your outlook is so skewed, and you don't see what's going on. But the maidservant, they're gonna honor what's going on because they see it. Blessed are your eyes for you see. You see it and you don't believe, man. You out of here. Go ahead.
Therefore, Micah, the daughter of Saul, had no child until the day of her death.
Woo! He stopped dealing with her. She got the Most High. Either the Most High shut her off, or he just stopped dealing with her, bro. No children. It was an honor for the women to have children. I mean, think about how much children David had. So it wasn't his. It wasn't him. Most High was like, "Oh, you gonna disrespect me right in front of me?"
Right, face to face.
So I hope y'all like that class, man.
Man, I'm renewed in the spirit.
I hope y'all like that. That was a fun one to put together. I added a few things in, but yeah, that was it, man. So once again, everybody online, I hope y'all enjoyed that. We, try to switch it up a little bit, give y'all some of these historical, just try to switch it up, man. It's always good to switch it. The dream class was a good class Monday. Came back with this one. Oh, we're not gonna have class Friday because we're gonna be doing a little mini Passover celebration. Nothing too crazy. Sisters still got to get garments popping, but we're gonna try to do something early. No, like at sundown. Set up some prayers, eat. Remember, the Feast of Unleavened Bread starts on the 26th. Okay, so that means what? If you listen, if you're gonna be weak to it, them bagels and them pastries, get them out your house. Technically, you were supposed to do that anyway. I mean, we in them times where you can't just be throwing away food because people is broke. Just don't eat it. Freeze it, do something, but don't mess with it. If you're gonna be weak, get rid of it. I sent out a list of all the things that had leaven, and all the things you could eat that didn't have leaven. All right, I'm gonna probably just be on a fast with salads and juices because I don't got time to be looking through no damn list. I ain't got time for that. I'm gonna just juice salads, get my body right, get new year, new me. Right? You know the saying that they say, New Year, new me. So I'm gonna start the new year. This is our first month, right?
Yes, sir.
First month, a bill. Technically, our first month. So remember, we're not going according to the Gregorian calendar, so to speak. We live in these times, but we know the first month of the year is in April. It's their April, which is spring.
Right, spring.
Right. So a bill. That's the month that that's technically what we in. Because it was the 14th day is when the Passover started, if I'm not mistaken. Or the 12th. Let me not say things. Exodus. It was the first month. It was the first month. I believe it was
12.
Yes, Exodus 12 was said.
12-2.
Yeah, that was the first month, but the day of the Passover, I think it was the 14th day. First month. Oh no, the 10th day. The 10th day. So the 26th is technically the 10th day of the first month. You see that? It's verse 3. Speak unto the congregation of Israel, saying, In the 10th day of this month, they shall take to them every man a lamb. Right. So, yeah. So that's what we're gonna be doing Friday. We don't broadcast here on online anyway. They're gonna do the same thing in VA. Have a feast, quick little feast. So they won't have class. So we're not gonna have class on Friday. So we didn't go nowhere. We didn't run off with the lamb money or anything like that. Then next week, the class schedule. We're definitely gonna have class Saturday, Monday. This weekend, Monday. We'll have class Wednesday, and then there's not gonna be no class after that because we're gonna be prepping to leave. You'll probably catch us street speaking in San Antonio, but remember, the Wednesday and then that Thursday we gotta go get the lamb. Passover is that Sunday coming up, so right? Yeah. It's that Sunday. So technically, we only have 2 more classes until Passover. Here in Houston, VA, they may do Tuesday and Thursday. No, they're not. They're gonna be here. My bad. So they're not even gonna do Tuesday. They're gonna be here Tuesday. So you're not gonna get class in VA Saturday, and then that's gonna be it. We're gonna be getting together. You don't need class. Remember when Yahushua was in the house with Martha and Mary, and Mary, what was it? Martha was moving around, busy. Yeah, she's like, you covered about with many matters. That was the time when she was supposed to sit down and be around. So here's a time where we're going to sit down with each other and be around, so there's no need for class. Everybody that's online is going to be here anyway, for the majority. So just giving y'all a little foresight of the schedule. But, I mean, that was it, man. With that, we'll end it there. Thank y'all for joining us. Let's say shalom.
Shalom.
We'll see y'all back here Saturday.
Show me how to do it. I only